You went on TikTok, you scrolled, you found the perfect morning routine, and you tried to implement it, but for whatever reason, it just wasn't sticking. You did the same thing for your evening routines, your workouts, but you couldn't be as consistent as the people who inspired you to create these routines in the first place. It took me years plus an ADHD diagnosis to finally come to the realization that it wasn't my lack of discipline or my inability to be consistent. It was the fact that my brain just simply did not work well with strict and rigid routines. I have my notes here so I don't go off on a tangent, but today we're going to talk about why you should be choosing systems over routines as a neurodivergent person. I used to fight for my life trying to be consistent with my morning routines. Morning is something that I don't really struggle with now, but when it came to creating a routine for my workouts, for just getting up in the morning, getting prepared, being on time for work, I struggled with finding a routine or a system that would fit my life. I was not factoring in the very things that were hindering me from sticking to those routines. I didn't factor in time. I didn't factor in my children's mood, my mood for the day, and these are all components that lead to frustration, blame, and discouragement when it comes to not being able to stick to a routine as someone with ADHD. And so recently did I discover the benefits of creating systems versus routines. So with a routine, you are putting a lot of parameters around something that could most likely and will most likely change day to day. But with a system, you're creating a framework, and within that framework, you're considering things like time, mood, other day-to-day factors that could alter how you show up and how you're able to complete that particular task. For example, my morning routine. I used to live by, I had to have my workouts done by 6 a.m. I had to have breakfast on the table by 7 o'clock. We needed to be out the door by 8 o'clock. It was a time-sensitive, very time-strict, and giving myself those limited barriers, not factor in maybe one of my kids will wake up and just won't be in the mood. So I'm going to have to take more time to win them over. That might not happen by 7:30. And there were times where it didn't happen at 7:30 and now it led to us being late. I'm then placing blame or not waking you up earlier. And the fact of the matter is, today just wasn't a good day, and I should have had more flexibility in our routine to account for that. I look at routines like a step-by-step plan that requires you to do the same exact thing every time. And for the ADHD brain, that's boring. It's also tough to do on days where you just physically and mentally cannot do. And that's why systems work. Systems allow for flexibility. It's a framework that you put in place with core components that adapt to your everyday life factors. So for example, your morning routine can look like coffee, then shower, then breakfast. But with a morning system, that can look like hydration, movement, and nourishment. It allows you to put those core components of your day in any order that fits your current circumstance. It also doesn't put a parameter on the type of hydration or the type of movement that you get to practice for that day. Maybe you're not feeling a strength training workout and you want to do Pilates. Maybe you're tired of coffee and you want to try a matcha. That's why systems work better than routines. They say it all the time, the ADHD brain craves novelty and flexibility. And with executive function challenges, rigid sequences make things harder. And personally, ADHD is hard enough to navigate without all these parameters. And it doesn't help that we have all or nothing thinking. So once we're unable to stick to a specific routine, we end up abandoning the task altogether rather than just meeting ourselves where we currently are. When life happens, systems are able to bend with us because there's that flexibility component. But with routines, you end up breaking them, which feels like you're breaking your promises to yourself. So now that we've discussed the difference between routines and systems and why systems actually work better for the ADHD brain, let's talk about how we can build those systems. I like to build my system starting with my non-negotiables first. These are things that I know for a fact that I'm going to complete every day, no matter what. For me, that's movement, nourishment, and hydration. I know that each day I will have some type of movement, whether that's Pilates, strength training, running, or a combination of both. My matcha is a true non-negotiable. I am bound to have a matcha latte every day, and I'm going to be sure that I fuel my body with the foods that feel good and help support my brain. The important part of creating systems tips is to build in choices. You want to make sure that you're giving yourself options for when certain things don't work out or when you just don't feel like doing it. So my matcha, for example, I have an option of having an iced or a hot matcha, just like I have the option of choosing which type of sweetener I choose to add to my latte. The more options, the better, but also try not to overwhelm yourself with too many options. You just want to make sure that you're making those choices ahead of time to reduce decision fatigue. The most important part about creating a system is to making sure that you design for your worst days. I like to look at my systems in high energy effort, mid energy effort, low energy effort. So on the days where I feel like I can conquer the world, my systems reflect that. Just like on the days where I feel like I really am just showing up, I'm just here, my systems also reflect what are the bare minimum things that I can do to push things along for the day until I'm feeling my best. You must be okay with showing up and giving that 80% versus trying to show up and give 100% all the time. That is a lesson that I'm honestly learning myself and I struggle with the most. Your system should definitely include some anchor habits, which is one consistent element that will trigger that system. So for me, my anchor habit of movement will trigger me nourishing my body and hydrating my body. Of course, you have to include multiple pathways to achieve the same outcome. So for my movement systems, I'm making sure that I have multiple avenues of how I can get my workout available to me so that no matter what, I am still committing to moving my body every day. Having reset mechanisms incorporated into your system will help you get back on track when you fall off. You have ADHD, you are bound to fall off, but having those reset mechanisms direct you back on track. And review your systems regularly. Some systems that work in one season of your life may not be the same systems that can carry you into the next season. Having regular time to review your current systems and making tweaks along the way gives you the opportunity to adjust what works and what doesn't. So let's talk about it. What is one thing that you struggle with when it comes to being consistent or showing up for yourself daily? And what is one routine that you've been struggling with that can become a flexible system instead? As always, I appreciate you for watching and I will catch you in the next one. Please leave me alone, sir. I'm just trying to record a video. Not me getting attacked by a bug and I'm just trying to film a video. What the f***? Stop.